Welcome to the Ops Experts Club with Aaron, Terryn, and Savannah. This podcast will take you behind the scenes of some of the finer details of multi-million-dollar companies. These ops experts have dealt with operations for scaling companies and well-established businesses with anywhere from small to large teams. If you've ever been deep into the details of a major company, then you know how much it takes, and these conversations are just for you. Welcome to the Ops Experts Club podcast.
Last week, we had a really nice guest, Kimberly, with Rainmaker Family, an excellent client of ours that we all love to do lots of different work with. I know everybody on the call here has been doing work with them all week. In fact, why don't we just start there, Savannah? I know you've been with them for a bit now. What kind of stuff you've been doing?
The main thing we're trying to do right now is setting them up for, they've had a lot of growth in a short amount of time. So we're just trying to make sure that all their systems are holding strong and training some existing staff and bringing on new staff on customer experience things. So lots of customer experience stuff, and then setting up, trying to get as many automations in place so that the system can do stuff for them so that they don't have to rely completely on humans. But obviously there's no getting around that when it's specific product questions.
It's such a huge push right now. Like they are, exploding is a little bit of an overused term, but their growth is crazy right now. It's like they're like holding on by the reins at this point.
We're hiring like 3 people just for like the customer experience side of sales and customer experience, like actual customer experience. We already have someone that we hired last week. Right on, like, well, you guys know more than me on the closers and setters, like for like their actual sales team. They brought on like more than 5 people. It's an insane period of growth, which is like really exciting to see for a client that we've been helping. And then,
Yep. I think it's been a really good thing to help them try to be a little less reliant on people and more reliant on processes, especially as some of these companies, they start to burst out of that infant stage. You do end up losing some of those people that hold everything in their brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, now what do we do? So it's been really nice to help them start to build up those processes so they are people reliant.
Yep.
As great as Kimberly is, you can't have 100 Kimberlys.
But I mean, the goal, if you're running a good business, is to grow people out of their roles. You never really want somebody stagnant, no matter how good they are. You want everybody to be learning and growing, because if they learn and grow, then your company learns and grows.
That is a very fair point.
Eventually, they might leave and start their own company, but they've helped your business. So that's awesome to hear. So there's a lot of things going on with them. It was fun to have Kimberly on last week. Yeah. So Ben, you have anything from our time with Kimberly?
Biggest takeaways?
Biggest takeaway with Kimberly, I would say, it's just impressive. I was mostly impressed just in her growth, like her sort of meteoric rise inside Rainmakers. I always say whenever we talk about Kimberly, she just like exudes operations. Like if you were to see her randomly in a grocery store, be like, that's somebody who's probably in operation. She has that air about her. So it's not surprising that, that she's done so well inside Rainmakers. I would be surprised actually if it was the opposite. But just the fact of how quickly she's come up within Rainmakers, I think that's a big testament to Stephen and Chelsea Diaz too, just and them recognizing like, holy crap, this person is somebody that we need on our team and leading our teams and coordinating everything within our organization. So big kudos to them on sort of spotting that in her. Just, I was so impressed in how she came into the organization, basically just started at the bottom and just skyrocketed to the top. And learning along the way, that was the biggest thing. Is like, I think we talked about how like, there's not really you can go to school for operations, you can go to, business school, but there's nothing like just starting at the bottom and just learning the ins and outs of a company on your way up and learning as you go. Because there is no, Zapier University. You have a problem and you're like, okay, how can I fix this problem? And so for her to go from like, figuring that out, and then all of a sudden, she's leading these operations teams. It was really impressive. So not surprising at all, but very impressive.
Yeah, but if there was a school for it, what would that be called?
Zap you.
Or the other school we talked about.
The
Oh,
School of Hard Ops. Yeah.
There we go. Might not be a tagline for the masterclass, but we got it in here.
oh man, that's a good one. School of Hard Ops.
I was also thinking yesterday, as I was thinking about more names for our upcoming masterclass, I was like, what we kind of do, like we're like the F around and find out. That's kind of how we learn what we do.
Yeah, I don't even know how many hours I've spent in Zapier going, doesn't this work? Why doesn't this work? Why doesn't Oh, and now I've learned a new skill.
Yeah, I have like 4 different draft zaps that I've been trying to like, and I know in my heart of hearts that I'm asking too much of Zapier, but I'm like, you're Zapier, you can do it. Like we can figure it out, but I'm still not there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Possible. I think one of the things to reflect on what Ben said was you see a lot of these companies we've worked with, they do have a lot of the internal teams that have started out as fans first. They're actual customers, people that have gone through, succeeded, that really believe in the company from beginning to end and are like, oh my gosh, this works, and are now such an advocate for it. They're hired by the company and they're helping the company do better because they want to see more people being reached. And what a better way to get people behind your vision than people who have experienced it personally. I mean, you're not going to have a hard time getting them on board.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
was
also love what she said though about not being afraid to push back, because I think that that's a problem sometimes with hiring your fans, is that they're so behind what you're doing that they're starry-eyed and they're not gonna say no. And I know she was talking about how important it is to be a yes person, but at the same time, like trusting your gut and like speaking up when you think something's not gonna go right. Sorry, Ben, I cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say it harkens back to my old days in the copy world. We always said like your best employees are found at the drive-through window. Like, especially in the world of copy, it's like you always see the same people. I mean, you saw the same faces like 5 days a week. And our best employees were like those, 20-year-old kids that came through every morning, like, can I please work here? Can I please work here? Can I please work here? You're like, sure, why not? You got a job. But they love the company so much that when you hire them, they already know the culture. And it's the same in the online world. They know the culture, they know your vision, they know what you're about. They love everything about it. It's not like pulling teeth, like, would you come and work for us? I'm like, please,
Mhm.
I'll work for you. I mean, I guess if you're a good company, if you're a bad company, then that's an issue. But if you can get those raving fans, they turn into raving employees too, which is great. And if they know your vision, and if you're a good company, then that's just going to make a great employee. And somebody who's going to want to stick around in your company and make it better. So I think Rainmakers has done that quite well.
It's a really good ops experts tip too for people that are hiring right now, because it's really hard in the hiring realm. And I think that people who are just like putting ads out in ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn, like they're having a harder time right now finding the people that they want. So I feel like that's a good like look at your customers and people that you interact with a lot.
It does kind of seem
Mhm.
like in the online space, that's sort of a thing that I guess in the brick and mortar world, like that was like bread and butter for us. Like we knew like if we had somebody who came through all the time, we'd offer them a job if we needed something. But it seems like in online space, like the default is like, let's go to Indeed or let's go to, ZipRecruiter. Let's go, recruit somebody from a hiring website instead of like first looking like, okay, who are our top customers?
Mhm.
Who loves, purchasing from us the most, or who loves our product the most? Maybe we go offer them a job or just have a phone call. Like, what do you do? Do you like what you do? Want to come work for us?
Poach them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, we've seen it a few times where people take the job posting to their community first. And sometimes that's all it is. Just hold off 2 weeks on posting it. Take it to your community, let people apply. You don't see anything, then post it online.
Hmm. I think it helps your organization stay more cohesive. Like it's always so tough. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse with brick and mortar, but we always, even when it came to promoting positions, in my 10, 11 years working with this company, we never once hired a manager from without. Every position was promoted from within because you just keep that culture going through your company. I think same should be with these online groups. Promote from within, because then you don't have to struggle with like teaching random person who may have Googled your company and figured out that you sell a product. You don't have to try and instill your culture in them. You have to try and like, no, this is how we really do things. This is who we really target. There's this whole onboarding process of just like who we are as a company. Whereas if you could, hire and promote from within your community, they already know everything about your company. So it's just like, here's an SOP on what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they're already onboarded, and that takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the hardest things to really hire for is the belief in the company, that vision that they're already on board. They're already in the boat. Now you're just trying to give them the correct seeds so they can help paddle it forward. That's like, a huge up level in your hiring.
I hate that word.
I hit school part ops. I hit up level. I have not hit Ted Lasso yet. So,
Well, you're using some really good nomenclature that we've been talking about in several meetings. So
yeah,
we'll circle back on Ted Lasso.
wow.
actually, can I take a second? Because I have some Ted Lasso news that is not related to ops at all, but is exciting. What's the soccer, the international soccer, or maybe it's just European, but they make a video game. Is it FIFA?
FIFA.
So they, for their newer version of the game, have decided to include Coach Lasso and I think Coach Weird, which is his second coach, as an option for your team when you're building your team to play the game. They are putting them in the video game.
That's hilarious.
Like, that's how important Ted Lasso is to the world.
Which means actually there's probably a new season coming out right around the corner with that game
I
marketing.
think it might be in December. I'll have to look it up, let Aaron know, because
Oh, that's funny. I can't tell if Aaron's Terryn. I thought Terryn was frozen or he was just thinking like
I'm just in contemplation about Ted Lasso still. Like, should I watch it?
am I gonna?
I mean, you could wait until this next season comes out and you just binge the first two and then you're right into the last one.
I don't see Terryn as a binger though. Are you a binger?
Takes me it took me like 6 months to watch all the Stranger Things so I could be caught up to now. So that was a 6-month binge. So now I can watch the new one.
I'm just saying, FIFA thinks he's cool, so
Sweet, we hit it. Cross Ted Lasso off the list here.
got it.
Awesome.
Just found out this morning, like just for this meeting.
That's actually pretty great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like that is, you haven't watched it, so you don't know, but the topic of Ted Lasso is kind of a good segue to imposter syndrome, though, which Kimberly also talked about last week.
Fair.
What's also funny about imposter syndrome, I don't know if it's just something in the air, but I got an email for John Acuff's weekly podcast, and it was imposter syndrome. And then got an email for Hal Alrod's weekly podcast. It's like overcoming imposter syndrome.
Interesting.
Like, so technically ours was up first. These all came out. I don't know if we're just in a trend, but those were also probably recorded a month ago.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe it's because all of these businesses are just, growing so much. I think that's a big part of it too. When you grow so quickly, so much, like you grow and then the rest of you catches up and you go, oh, wait a minute. There's got to be somebody else who could be doing this better.
Like, what in the heck am I doing?
Where you're just like learning on the run. I think that was the biggest thing that I realized was like learning on the run with the Collab team. When I first started, I was like, no, I think Aaron made a mistake. There should be somebody else doing this. But you just learn so fast and you take a breath. Holy crap, what did I just do for the last 6 months? I think it's because all these companies are growing so quickly. You've got all these people growing so fast and they're taking breathers going, am I the person who can do this?
Yeah, because you don't really have a choice but to just do it. And then, yeah, someone comes to you and is just like, hey, I need you to do this thing. And you're like, I've never done that thing before. And so you have to kind of, you have to think about it outside of yourself and just look at what you've done so far and be like, okay, well, I figured all that out. So I guess I can figure this out.
Right. It's really just like a belief in yourself at that point. And you just got to believe you really are standing where you are. You made it there. But then if you were looking in like a physical environment, if you're climbing up a mountain and you made it halfway up, you can look out and see, okay, yeah, I did make it halfway up. I can see. But when we're working in businesses on things that are very physically there, it is a lot easier to fall into that because you can't just look around and see something you've done. I was just having to believe that you have made it to this point.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
That analogy actually makes me think of a time when I was still living in Washington and I decided I want to go take a hike by myself, which is dumb. I don't know why I thought I was going to do that because warn you not to do that, but I was like, it's fine. It's close to my house. And the thing said that it was a 2 mile hike and it was like 2 miles, like all like this and like X. And I was completely out of shape. And so I got like halfway up this mountain and then there was a tree that had like a slight bend in it. And I remember I was just like hugging this tree and I was like, well, I could just let myself roll down or I could keep climbing to the top, and I did make it to the top, but yeah, I feel like that sometimes in doing what we're doing, where you get, like, partway through something and you're like, "I don't know if I'm actually capable of pulling this over the finish line," but I guess the opposite is, like, losing my job or failing really bad, so I'm just gonna keep going.
Well, it's always such an internal thing because, like, from the outside in, everybody's always looking at you going, wow, they've really got it together. They're doing great. Like, if I was to look at Kimberly, I would not be like, "Wow, there's somebody better for her position," or be like, no, Kimberly is the best person in that position. But it's always like internally, you're like, I don't think I can do this. On the outside, everybody's like, oh, cow, who else could do that? And it's so funny. You never like, you're always the last person to have the most faith in yourself. Everybody else is like, man, it's a good thing we got them.
You're like, "Don't look at me, don't assign me anything else."
Yeah, it's my favorite gift I always give to people is from that show, The IT Crowd, where it's like he's sitting there at the computer, and he looks over and the computer's on fire and he just goes back to work.
It's true.
And
That's really all it is just saying, I can solve this, or I can figure out how to solve it, or it's just unsolvable. It's one of those three.
Mm-hmm.
task management does make that, like, easier and harder too, just because when you get, like, a lot of tough requests, it can make it seem like it feels like everything's a lot bigger than it is, and then so if you, like, can work out systems with, like, task management software, like, I know Kimberly loves, like, Monday, and she's gotten their whole team onto Monday. We like Asana, just trying to, like, utilize those kind of things to help you set priorities. I feel like that helps a little bit with the imposter syndrome too, because 'cause you're breaking it into those, like, little bite-sized chunks, so it's like, "I can't do all of this. I can do this, though. That computer on fire, that that's tomorrow Savannah's problem."
Tomorrow's task. That's actually a really good segue. Nice, Savannah. And see, something that we started at here at the Collab team is whenever we have L10s with all of our, because we run L10s with all of our clients, those deliverables, we actually started pulling out and placing those into Asana because just thinking about like, okay, where are all of my deliverables from all of these meetings? I can't even remember. And the meeting comes up to you like, oh crap, I didn't do that. Like taking all of your deliverables and just plopping them into your project management system so you can actually keep track of like, oh yeah, this is what I was supposed to do for this person and for that person, and that person, and then just assigning out dates that aren't all the same date. We're like staggering. I have like 5 projects that are due, 5 days, in a row. It's a lot easier to bite off than like 5 projects all due tomorrow.
Yep.
Way, way easier. Like,
Yeah, if I don't have tasks all in one place, like, out of sight, out of mind, like, I will completely not do the thing, or I'll be trying to do it 10 minutes before the meeting starts because, oh my gosh.
I mean, tracking metrics is huge. That's why so many things try to gamify things for you. We're all counting steps. We're all seeing how well we're doing in different areas. There's so many great things going on in the brain as soon as you start tracking metrics. And when I log into my Asana and I see like I've got 5 past due and they're all red and it gives me a little anxiety. But then we get our weekly report at our L10 meeting. It's like, oh, I completed 42 tasks last week.
you get
Okay, I've got 5 of past due.
It's a little bit of the mountain you get to climb. You're like, oh, I made it a little bit farther up the mountain. I've got my 42 tasks done. 75 more come in. The mountain just got taller.
Bringing it back to parenting analogy, because that, like, it's like you got to take those little wins. So my daughter loves to play dress up, and her favorite thing to dress up as right now is Elsa. And she has this Elsa dress that she borrows from daycare, and it's like a wrap. Like, it's like not even really an Elsa dress anymore, but it still has the cape. Anyway, I could not get her out of it this morning to get her to preschool. And I was like starting to freak out because we have a 10-minute window that you're supposed to drop them off in. And I got her, like, I even texted the teacher and it wasn't going through. And then, so we were pulling in at 9:31, which is 1 minute past the 10-minute window that you're supposed to drop them off. And as I'm pulling her up, 3 more parents like rush up and pull in at the same time. So I was like, yes, okay, we're not the late ones. We're just one of the late ones. But it made me feel so much better that I have her so much more on time most of the time.
That's nice.
I wasn't alone.
That's funny.
And you don't want her to go to daycare dressed as Elsa? Is that the issue?
It'd be a little bit of a distraction, and they have like a dance section. And I know that if she showed up in like a tattered Elsa thing with a cape, that she would just like rip it apart and trip, and it would be a bad time. So, gotta wear real clothes.
Mhm.
We all want to dress up as Elsa with a cape, but
I actually had my Elsa costume on about 20 minutes ago. I had to take it off for this.
task management. You showed up on time. You know,
When we're done, I'm going right back into the Elsa costume.
Nice.
good. I need pictures of Ben and sparkles.
They're called sequins.
This dress has sequins and sparkles, and a snowflake brooch. It's got everything. It's
Wow.
There's a reason it's her favorite, but it's falling apart.
Well, Ops Experts Club, here we are.
We're going to talk about operations and Elsa.
Let us make many Kimberlys.
Many MANY, not many. We don't need really tiny Kimberlys.
I mean, she has those too, but
Well, thanks, Savannah. Thanks, Ben. A good time.
thank you, Terryn.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ops Experts Club podcast. New episodes available every week on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. If you're curious about how some of the biggest names in entrepreneurship have scaled their businesses to the next level, check out some of our best content on this topic by going to foundationsthatscale.com. You can find the link in our bio and do your part to improve as an ops expert.